Hey guys, it's Lindsay. I am going to finally, finally, halfway through the year, get to the Aquarius reading. I've tried to do this reading a couple times, and I do that with a lot of my readings. If I don't feel like I am pulling the messages that need to be pulled, I'll take a step back and come back to it until it feels right, because I'm not gonna leave you guys with a bunch of bullshit. So, Aquarius 2025 deep dive. We took a step back and we're coming back to it. We're going to do a yearly review. We're going to start with summer because we are in summer. I will try to go a little further into the winter for my Aquarius because we're starting halfway through the year. For that, I apologize. But we'll get the messages we need to get. Has that any and all messages that come through the cards come through with clarity and understanding for all those involved and for their highest good at this point in time only, Spirit. Okay. I'm getting this energy like, let's get to it. Let's get to it. And Aquarius, that's let's get to it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I've waited long enough. I'm ready. That's the first message that I'm getting off the bat. It feels like there's been something that you've been waiting a very, very long time for, that you have been working towards. And you've been patient, Aquarius. You've been so patient. And I know this feeling because in some part, I'm talking to myself on this one. And you're like, when is it going to come through for me? I've been patient. I've been working so hard. I've been diligent. And I've done everything I possibly can on my end in order to get myself where I need to be with this thing. Five of Wands reversed. I've done everything. I've done everything I possibly can. Checked off every box, climbed every ladder. I haven't rushed anything. And this is the energy that's coming through in summer. And so, Aquarius, what is coming through for you now around this situation? There is an opportunity to emotionally pull back and detach, because I feel like a part of what is coming through most intensely, the reason why we're getting to this point where we're like hitting the end of our rope, it's because we've attached our emotions so heavily to something. And that's kind of funny talking about Aquarius, isn't it? Because everyone thinks, oh, they're so emotionless. Aquarius is so emotionless. They'll ghost you and you'll never hear from them again. And they don't show any emotions. We're not. We're not. We are probably one of the most emotionally deep signs in the zodiac. But we are a deep but still lake. So we won't show anything on the surface. Absolutely nothing. Unless, of course, we decide the situation needs it. And so if you get an Aquarius to the point where they are actively showing their emotions, if you get them to that point, know that you probably deserve it. And I'm not talking about in like, expressing and talking about the emotions. I'm talking about if you get an Aquarius to a point where they anger, they've thought about it. They've thought about it a lot. They've thought about it from every angle. So it's a very rare thing to have an Aquarius emote, and if they do, they've hit that edge. And getting back to the emotions around this situation, Aquarius, there is something so deeply tied to your desire, your goals that you've been working towards, and you have hit that rope. There's this level of exasperation that's happening. And I just want you to know that you have done everything. You've done everything. And now it's time to sit back and be the Queen of Swords that you know how to be, and cut your emotions and set the energy free. Because I think this is part of what is holding Aquarius back from achieving in this situation. Now, achievement's going to look different for everybody and to each situation, but it's the emotional ties that are holding on. You may not think you're holding on so tightly, Aquarius, but you are. You are. It's like you have put your sights, your energy into this thing, and not seeing the repayment of it. It's very difficult for you. And then we have a death and rebirth card. So this is what I'm getting for August. So I am getting for Aquarius, whatever this situation is, when you start to remove the emotional ties that you've constricted around it, and give grace to the situation and let it go. This is when it actually starts moving in August. You get that call, you get that email, you get that text message, you get whatever that incoming correspondence is about the thing you've been working towards. And then you're like, yes, we can move forward. But it's part of this letting go, this queen energy, emotionally. It's also part of putting your energy towards other things, activities, going out, seeing friends, things like that. Putting your focus on other things for a short amount of time and helping to release that energy around this thing. Okay, let's see what else is showing up for Aquarius. There's something with children, which is interesting. If you have children or are thinking of having children, what is with the children, Spirit? What is with the children? I'm seeing two children. Okay. Two children. It's funny. I have a niece and nephew. And my sister's an Aquarius. So, two children. So it's with the children, something about being around them, recapturing your joy. Because I feel like in all this seriousness, yes, we are one of the more serious zodiac signs. Yes, we are very hard to read. Yes, we are a still lake. I feel like Aquarius can get so serious, so in their mind, that recapturing that childlike joy is important. Being around children who know how just to be joyful as they are, as they're showing up, that they don't worry about, this thing is going to happen or this thing is going to happen, Aquarius. I think for you in the summertime, putting yourself, if you had children, the Empress, children. Because that's going to help you recapture some of that potency, your creative potency, your joy around life. because children show up like that naturally. They don't question life. As adults, we have this set, pattern. I think in many ways because we've learned to keep, you know, tabs on our lives. And how do we do that? Oh, this is going to end up this way because it's ended up this way before. And this is going to happen and this is how it's going to happen. And that's very much an adult mindset. Children don't have that mindset because they haven't gone through experiences that have required them to have that type of, or most children don't, have that type of survival instinct. And for those that do, my heart goes out to them because that's not something that they should have to worry about. It's an adult way of thinking. And so I think for Aquarius, how do you let things go? How do you not say something is going to be this way or that way? Because in actuality, you don't know. In actuality, you don't know. So my mother has this saying that she's always said to us since we were like little, when we would get worried. She would say, you don't know until you know. You don't know until you know. And so that means don't worry about it until you need to worry about it. And I think that's probably one of the greatest pieces of wisdom I've ever received in my life. And anytime I start to worry about something, I hear my mother's voice in my head, and she says, you don't know until you know. And that's where we're at, Aquarius. Nothing about life is set in stone. It's ever changing from moment to moment. And I think this is the summer where there is this allowance for change for us. There's allowance for freedom of movement. And also nurturing different aspects of ourselves that we have never had to nurture before, or, in the way that trying new things, trying the things that scare you, right? So I recently signed up for the gym, and I have never in my life, I am not a gym person, let's just put it that way. And even just going in to sign up, I was like, I found my anxiety, because it's not something that I know. You don't know until you know. And so I went in there and it was a lot better than I thought it was. And I had all these thoughts like, what if it's going to be like this? What if it's going to be like this? And it wasn't. And that's very particular to me, but we all have those situations, those places that are triggering to us for whatever reason, maybe because we don't know enough about it. And Aquarius likes to know. We like to know all the things. We like to study and understand and really dig down to the root of a topic. That's our brain. That's the way we're wired. We need to know. It's just stepping over that threshold of, okay, I don't know, but I'm going to learn, right? So I don't know about my physical body and what it's capable of exercise-wise. It's not something that I've ever really cultivated, besides dancing and movement and things like that. And that's a very much safe space for me. But lifting weights, strength training, those things, I've never cultivated that. So how do I show up in those environments? And it's interesting. It's also terrifying. So this is very much the summer for Aquarius to know, to find out who you are in all those places that the devil. So the devil is the shadow aspect. That's the anxiety. That's the fear. The devil is the fear. The devil is often, in most of my readings, associated with the mind, Aquarius. Who is Aquarius also associated with? Oh, we're good friends. We're good friends, right? So the devil wants to hold out his hand and he's, come with me. I'm going to show you something. And we're going to have a discussion about your worst fears. He's that little voice in your ear. You're not going to do it. But this is the summer you do it. This is the summer you do it. You say, you know what? Actually, I am. And you're not as big and scary as you thought you were. And there we are, Ten of Swords. You're freeing yourself from your thoughts and you're moving on to the next stage of your evolution. Okay, and that's summer energy. And I will say, Aquarius, much of this, again, I always say to Aquarius, is get out of your head and get into your body. And that's something that I need to take for myself, Aquarius. There you are. There we are. The star. The star card is Aquarius. Get out of your head and into your body. It's almost like forcing yourself into your body, forcing yourself to be physical, go on a walk, exercise, because you need that balance. We need that balance. Everyone needs that balance. There's only so much you can spin your wheels. There is also this other aspect I'm seeing, especially in late August to fall, early fall, reconnecting with family. So if you have family near, or if you would travel to them, Aquarius, I'm seeing some deep reconnection with family. So this may look like a family celebration, you know, a family reunion, going on vacation with your family. If you are separate and don't have an active connection with your family, it may also look like somebody unexpectedly reaching out. I'm also hearing, you know, like further afield, so like your cousins, things like that, reaching out, and or connecting with, you know, not your immediate family if you haven't heard from them in a long time. Fall for Aquarius. Okay, deep dive. Fall for Aquarius. Fall for Aquarius. I'm getting romance, which is interesting. 5 of Cups. Okay, part of this is something going not the way that you thought it would. And so you're mourning that situation. But there's something else happening here. Spirit, please help to clarify the message for fall. Please help to clarify the message for fall for Aquarius. It's better. It's not going to go the way that you think it will, but in the end, the outcome is going to be better for you. And this may be going back to that situation that we were talking about at the beginning, that you've been working so hard for, Aquarius, in the fall. So I've been working on getting a book published, and the way that this would read to me is that maybe not the first agent that I sent it to wants it, but maybe I have somebody else who's more aligned with it. That's the type of information, that's the type of, you know, not the first hand out, but the second one, you know, is actually better. That's what I'm getting. Let's get clarification around the romance for fall that I'm seeing for Aquarius. Interesting. You're unlocking the door, Aquarius. So the door that was previously locked for romantic connections for you is now being unlocked. And the energy around it is being unlocked. So you're more open to those types of connections. If you are single, if you are in a relationship, Aquarius, that is deepening your relationship. if you are in a relationship that you wish to continue being in, let's put it that way. That is deepening your relationship, Aquarius. In the fall time, I feel like there's another level where you are being freed from something, or you are desiring to move more deeply with your significant other. Hang on, let's see, where are we? There's something else here. Yeah, we're gonna do this deck now. I do think this moving more deeply with your significant other. I'm almost seeing writing love letters, which is like such an old-fashioned thing, but it's really beautiful and I think really necessary. So if that's something that you and your partner would do, like writing little love notes. I have a dear friend who is in a relationship with someone she's been with for quite a long time. But he writes her love notes in the morning. He leaves her every morning, he leaves her a love note specifically about that day. And I think that's just such a beautiful way to remind someone that you're there for them. And he wasn't asked to do it. He wasn't, oh, I would like this. She never said anything about it. He just started leaving those love notes for her. Something so simple. So when she wakes up in the morning, it's next to her coffee pot. There's a little love note. And she keeps them all. Like if you think of your grandparents or your parents, if they had that type of relationship, usually it was grandparents, they would write, that generation, they would write love letters. Usually they saved them. Can you imagine just finding those, right? How much love, the outpouring of expression, if that was the type of relationship they had, like how beautiful that years later that you could find something so special. Okay, we're also getting fall, winter, Aquarius. We are getting into the halls of learning. So for us, in the way that it's coming through, it's a deeper psychic and spiritual connection in the fall, winter. I feel like they're really diving into another level of our depth as far as our psychic understanding, clarity, and learning. So you may find yourself seeking out different ways of learning if that is something that interests you, if you want to broaden your path around your spirituality, Aquarius, fall, winter. And also coming into contact with people, places, events that pique that type of interest. Because Aquarius are often, because we are so in the mind, we often have a high level of psychic connection. Because that's where the power center of our energy sits, in the mind. So it's the closest to the crown chakra. And I think for us, a lot of us have been doing deep, deep spiritual work and connection and doing this for many years. And so our level of connection is going to look very different from others. I'm seeing getting clearer images, hearing clearer messages, but also making connection with spirit guides, angels, ancestors, all these things in a very different and more primal way. For me, myself, within the past year or so, I've noticed a deepening in my own connection to my spirit team, and almost where I will conversate with them and I will get an immediate answer. So for Aquarius, I do think that there's another level to be had in the fall, winter of this connection. So just be aware of that. We didn't really look at anything to do with work because I don't think that that's necessarily something that is coming up strongly for Aquarius. I do think that there are going to be shifts around work. I'm going to take this deck, but we're going to take this deck this way. We're going to shuffle it. I want to get back to the relationship card. Hang on real quick. We're going really deep with Aquarius because it's us. It's us. Okay. This one's not so bad. Okay. So I just wanted to circle back to the relationship really quick. This is the Sexual Magic Tarot by Lo Scarabeo. And there's very few cards that I can actually show in this deck, but I did want to show this one. We have, for the clarification around the romantic, I want you to look very closely because we're opening up. We were talking about opening up to the romantic energy. I want you to look very closely, Aquarius. She is looking down and he is looking up. And where is this pot of flowers between them? So the concern and or opportunity with the romantic connection that is coming through in the fall for Aquarius. This man's eyes are up and away, so it's almost like he's in a fantasy land. Well, she's very much grounded in reality. So that is just one of the, I guess I would say warnings on this. Be very aware if you are looking to be open to a relationship and that energy does come through in the fall for you. That make sure that it's not a fantasy energy, right? For either party. There has to be a level of reality to it. Yeah. So, the other one I can't show, but he's has her with a glass of wine, and it's like drinking the Kool-Aid. So don't drink the Kool-Aid. Right? We got other things we're doing, Aquarius. Don't trip up and drink the Kool-Aid if that's that type of relationship that shows up for you. Okay? So we did the romance. We didn't do much on work, as I said, but again, I think this opportunity coming back that we were talking about in the beginning that you've been working so hard on, I think that's going to impact your work life, Aquarius. There we are at the bottom of the lake. And also a different division of work-home life is going to start showing up for you in the fall. So if you have, children and family members, home work life, there's going to be a different divide of how that's separated than how it has been in the past. Wow, Aquarius. Wow. So that was a really, really thorough deep dive. I appreciate you so much. If you enjoyed that, if any of that reading resonated with you, Aquarius, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. My name is Lindsey Rose. This is Storyteller Tarot. If you would like your own reading, as always, please check out the link in bio. And I wish you all well.